Welcome back to the Content Bite. I'm Rachel, and who are you?
I'm Lynn.
We are the podcast for freelancers and people who use their words
To make money.
money.
Yeah, that's what it's all
which
about.
is us. Oh,
So, yeah,
who
that's
are you
us.
anyway?
I'm Lynn Testoni and I'm a content creator and a writer.
And I'm Rachel Smith, a journalist and copywriter and the founder of Rachel's List, a jobs board for creatives. And today,
Fantastic.
what are we talking about?
We're talking about why you shouldn't worry about the downturn when you're a freelancer.
Yes, very contentious topic because
Yes, it is.
Also known as slow patches. Everybody falls into one sooner or later when you freelance for long enough, and
Yes.
it can be pretty scary, I think, especially
Yes.
if you're new to freelancing and you've suddenly had a lot of work and then suddenly you don't have any work, or
Yes.
it just dries up.
Exactly. I find that you panic a bit. So I've been doing it for about 3 years, and I think the first year I panicked a lot more. Now I'm a bit more relaxed. Sometimes when it's a bit quiet, I actually go, that's nice. I feel better. But it always picks up. But I am always trying to pitch my next job while I'm finishing one. So, but I found that even when people are saying there's a bit of a downturn, I haven't quite seen it, but I actually think when there's changes in industry, you pick up more as a freelancer. Do you find that?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that's what I love about the Gold Group, because it's so interesting to see that, you know,
Yes.
people will mention, oh my God, I'm so slow. Is everyone else really slow at the moment? I don't have any clients, or there's no work coming in. And then you'll hear from people who say, I'm busier than I've ever been this Christmas. And, you know, so it really, and hearing that does make you feel better in a way, even though you're shitty because you want that, you want all their work. But
Yes.
it means, you know, the work is out there, and it is worth keeping hustling. I totally agree with your point. I mean, I've been freelance for over 20 years, I think, but I agree with your point that when you've been freelancing for a certain amount of time, you start to recognise those peaks and troughs, and in the troughs, you start to really take a deep breath, relax, sleep in more, go to the gym, work on your website, you know, do all those things you don't have time to do, perhaps do some, you know, lead strategy.
Yes. I do. Somebody I know has a list of all the things they're going to do when it
love
gets
that.
quiet.
I love
So
that.
it might be like fix your website. It might be send emails out to all those people for the PDFs for your website.
Yep.
Sometimes it's about having coffee with that person, one of your key clients, that you know, to develop a strategy. All those sort of things. It's quite nice, yeah.
And I think there is some...
Do a podcast.
Update your episodes. I think there's also something to be said for that whole reverse psychology. Like, I remember telling John Burford, a friend of ours, that he was really quiet for a while, and he was like, what should I do? And I said, go on holiday. Just book a holiday, go. And he went, I can't do that. And I went, why not? Just go. Anyway, he went on holiday, and then he rang me from Malaysia or wherever he was, and he goes, I've got so much work. Oh my God, I'm doing it in the hotel room.
Yes.
So there's that sort of thing. You can ignore the phone and your email, go to the movies or go on holiday, and suddenly that's the end. It pours in. Yeah.
Well, my backup whenever I'm quiet is I go in-house, and I might do a small contract like some sub-editing or a cookbook or something like that. And then inevitably I get besieged once I'm committed to going into an office, and then I'm writing late at night, early in the morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you do, if you kind of get into that slow patch and start to enjoy it, you sort of need to pad it out a bit yourself, because
Yes.
if you do hustle in that slow patch, it can all suddenly start flooding in.
Yes.
And then, yeah, you're back
Also,
on.
I think once you've been doing it for a while, you tend to know your niche and when it's quiet. So I find with the corporate clients I have, it's really quiet in January because a lot of them are in building and it's really quiet. So that's when I'm going in-house most of January to work on a cookbook.
Yep. I agree. There's
busy for
definitely
them.
times, like, you definitely start to recognise when the quiet times are in your industry, but also, like, in media and digital, for me, it's really varied every year. Like, some years around tax time, all the budgets are starting to dwindle, and, you know, the work's stopping and everything. But then other years, people have loads of budget left, and they're madly
Trying to get ahead.
to commission.
Yes.
So it really, you just don't know what's going to happen. But for that reason, I think that's why you cannot sort of rest on your laurels through the rest of the year. You always have to be prospecting and bringing those leads in and hustling.
If it's looking quiet in the foreseeable future, sometimes just sending an email to one of your regular clients.
Yeah.
Often, if they're really busy, they don't have time to do. to email you and they say, I'm so glad you emailed.
Yes.
We're just about to do this big project. I'm stuck with a new website. I'll be speaking to you about it, and you just catch them at the right time. I think that makes a difference.
Absolutely. And I think as well, we need to touch on the whole scary, R word, recession.
Yes.
Whether or not it is on the way, but a lot of experts say it is. And, I know that I was pretty happy to read in Paul Jarvis's book. I think we mentioned that last episode. It's called Company of One. We interviewed him on the blog at Rachel's List, actually, and he was saying that, if you're a small business or a freelancer, when the economy takes a downturn, businesses typically have smaller budgets, and it works out a lot of the time better for freelancers because that you don't charge as much as a huge agency, your overheads are lower.
You're often quite nimble, so if there's a small little project just to do, just to whip up, you can do that,
That's right. And you have that sort of ability to adapt and to change when things change. So it's not all bad, actually. It could mean more opportunities for yourself. And I think you mentioned before, this is really true of magazines as well. We see, in a bad market, people getting made redundant, which is really sad.
They still need to fill the pages in magazines.
Yeah, they'll do that, won't they? They'll get rid of the staff and then they'll go, oh, shit, we've got 92 pages to fill. What are we going to do? And that's when they call all the freelancers.
They do
all that.
Our freelancers just exist in a different part of the magazine budget. So sometimes they're able to hire freelancers when they can't have somebody in-house. And so we're just a different column in the balance sheet. So it's okay.
So it's actually, not all bad.
And I think we've talked a bit about diversifying in different industries. So I do find that when building's quiet, food is busy, vice versa. So that's why I like working in the two niches. Yeah. And you work in lots of different niches.
Yeah, I basically just throw myself around everywhere.
Because you work with things like childcare centres and you do health and wellbeing as well as some entertainment even.
I do a lot of careers writing. I write a lot of banking stuff. I do, some entertainment.
And they all have different quiet times, don't they? Yeah. Careers is always really busy in January, which is when building is quiet. And some of the other banks are always busy near financial year, reporting season, all that sort of stuff.
That's true. It does sort of work out that way. And I think that's more not by design, it's more just happened organically that way because of things I'm interested in, and also because of people approaching me on LinkedIn and saying, do you want to write some banking articles? And I was like, do they even know that I usually write about interiors? But, it was actually really fun, and I've learnt so much, and, got a whole new slew of experts to talk to, and I actually really love writing about finance. I have really shocked myself by how much I love writing about finance and business, where I never thought I would ever write in those niches.
But anything can be interesting. Yeah. That's the fun thing about being a freelancer too, because you tend to try things you wouldn't if you're stuck in-house.
That's so true. But anyway, we are reaching, oh my God, how have we gone over? No, I think we're actually just on 10 minutes.
That never happens.
That must be the first episode ever in 13 episodes that we've actually managed to stick to the time. But if you're in a slow patch right now, we hope that this has been some reassurance for you, and
send out the odd email, take a break, have a cup of tea,
go to the movies. There's some great movies on at Christmas.
They are.
Work on your website. Last episode talked all about all the things that your website shouldn't be doing, and so it's a good time to revisit that.
Definitely. So I'm Lynn. This is Rachel.
I'm Rachel. You're listening to The Content Bite, and we will see you next week.
Okay.
Bye.